Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I am going to be talking about my beginner bullet journal supplies. So if you're new to bullet journaling and you're a beginner to the bullet journal world and you're kind of wondering where to start, or if you kind of feel overwhelmed with all of the videos and the Pinterest photos and the Instagram feeds of bullet journaling, I totally know how you feel. I was the exact same place a year ago. I just finished my very first bullet journal notebook this past year, so I'm just starting now my second one. And I thought I would make this video to just talk about what I felt was helpful in my first year and what I didn't think was necessary. I feel like a lot of the videos right now out there as far as like beginner bullet journal supplies all talk about needing different things to start, and just, I don't know, I feel like there's really beautiful bullet journals out there and I'm all for that. But for me personally, it was kind of overwhelming when I started, and I actually kind of started and stopped because I felt like it wasn't pretty enough or perfect enough of a bullet journal. So I wanted to create this video to talk about my beginner bullet journal supplies, what I used my first year and what I found the most helpful when starting my bullet journal. So if you're interested in that, then just keep watching. I'm going to explain first what I used my first year and then kind of talk about whether I felt like it was necessary or whether I still use it. So first thing that you will need is a notebook. My first year I used the official bullet journal notebook. I'll leave the link down in the description box, but I used the official bullet journal notebook. For my second year, I am also using I always mess this up, Lectern. I might have totally butchered that, but I'm using the same brand as the official bullet journal notebook, but it's just different colors. Pages are numbered. It's a dotted notebook, so that's the first thing I would recommend. I would use a dotted notebook. Originally when I started, I used this notebook, which is just a pretty like standard notebook. This is what I first used. It's a very plain lined notebook. It's still a notebook that I use just for random messy brainstorming. But I kind of tried things out in this first and I really liked it. So I decided to kind of invest in the official bullet journal notebook as my first one. I think you can get these notebooks for like $20 on Amazon, but you don't necessarily need this notebook. A lot of stores even now carry dotted notebooks. It's becoming much more popular since bullet journaling is now much more popular. So I would recommend starting though with a dotted notebook just because it allows you to do more with your layouts when you're setting everything up. So that's the first thing, is to get a notebook. I started with Sharpie pens. I'll kind of insert a clip here so you can see kind of what that looks like, but I started with just Sharpie pens and my notebook and highlighters. And I really like these. They don't smear with the Sharpie pens at all, but that was what I started with, was my notebook, Sharpie pens. Really simple. So all you really need to start is pen and a notebook, really. I know there's so many beautiful bullet journal spreads out there and they're amazing and definitely things to strive for, but the basis of the bullet journal system is for it to be efficient and effective and help you be more productive. So I know for a lot of people, being more creative in their journals does help them stay productive and be more productive and use their journals more. I'm someone who, I kind of do a little bit of both. If I'm having a really busy week, I do more of a minimalist layout. If I have some time and want to be more creative, then I do get a little bit artsy with my notebook. But it's absolutely not a requirement for me, just because I want it to be effective and efficient and help me with my productivity, not necessarily derail me from it. Apart from a basic pen and notebook, the next thing that I would highly recommend getting is a ruler. I like using, let's see if that'll focus a little bit. Oh, nope, it just makes me look funny. I would recommend getting a clear ruler. You can see completely through this, and that helps me with my lines. I got this ruler from Target, and I like having the clear see-through ruler because I feel like I can see things a little bit better when I'm drawing in my notebook. So those are what I would say would be your absolutely bare essentials to get started with bullet journaling: a pen, a notebook, and a ruler. If you want to add a little bit more into it, I would personally recommend starting, at least for the first month or two, just with a pen and notebook so you don't get overwhelmed and so it doesn't diminish your excitement for bullet journaling, because it can get a little overwhelming if you're trying consistently to make your spreads super beautiful in the beginning, and it can start to feel like it's very time consuming, and it doesn't need to be. It does not need to take a ton of time to bullet journal. It's meant to be a fast, rapid system. If you do want to get a little bit more creative though, the other things that I really personally love and I'm still consistently using as part of my bullet journal supplies, I do use watercolors. Don't do it for every single spread. These are the watercolors that I currently use. This is the brand I'm currently using for my watercolors. I love them. It's very simple, very easy to use. So I like to do that when I want to make my spreads a little bit more creative and colorful. Another way that you can add a little bit more color to your journal that's a little bit more budget friendly if you're budget conscious: Crayola Super Tips. I use all of these different colors of Crayola Super Tips markers. They work really well too as highlighters, so if you want to highlight anything, the Sharpie pens don't smear with Crayola Super Tips. And they're Crayola, so you know, you might even have these around your house still. They help just add a little pop of color to your journal. So if you are looking to get a little bit more creative but don't want to spend a lot of money, the Crayola Super Tips are an awesome marker to use for your bullet journal, and it doesn't bleed through the pages too, so that's always a plus. And the other thing I like to use if I want to add a little bit more color to my bullet journal, the Papermate Flare felt tip pens, or felt tip markers. So they will smear if you try to use a highlighter or something over them, but if you're looking to just kind of create like a focal point for a task or something like that, it's really helpful to add a little bit of a pop of color. Sometimes too, if I'm journaling and just writing a long form journal in my bullet journal, I'll use the markers to just add a little bit more color. Again, all of this stuff is not necessary, just things that I like to use, and still very simple for starting out with bullet journaling. I also use pencils in my bullet journal, so if I'm ever doing a collection that I'm kind of sketching something out or drawing something out, before I go over it in Sharpie pen, I will use pencils. I just use these mechanical pencils by Papermate. I've been using them since college. So those are kind of the basics, very budget friendly bullet journal supplies that I currently use. The other supplies that I use that are a little bit more nicer and a little bit more of a higher price item, but that I did not get until about a month ago. So this was at the end of my very first year. But I did decide to invest in some brush pens. So I do have the Tombow dual tip brush pens, and I also have these black brush pens by Kelly Creates. It absolutely is not necessary to start bullet journaling, but if you do want to start practicing your lettering or getting a little bit more creative and artsy in your journal, those are really good pens to try that out with. You can also though do the kind of fancy handwriting and start practicing with the Super Tips markers too, so don't feel like you need to invest in expensive brush pens to start practicing your handwriting. The other thing that I actually just got for Christmas that I really love, I'm a diehard Sharpie pen lover, however, I just got the Micron pens for Christmas, and I got the variety pack, so there's different size tips. I am obsessed with these pens, and I'll insert a clip here so you can see what that looks like, but I've actually been using the O2 for writing my daily logs, and I love how it looks. It's very neat and easy to read, and my handwriting is just beautiful with the Micron pens, so that might become my daily pen, but I still love my Sharpie pens. And then last but not least, the only other thing that I do use in my bullet journal occasionally is I use washi tape. So I do have 2 rolls of washi tape. One is a holographic and the other is a leaf design washi tape. I use both of these in my bullet journal for adding in photos or mementos like ticket stubs, things like that, because I do memory keep in my bullet journal too. I'll insert a clip here so you can see what that looks like, but not necessary. You can even just use Scotch tape if you really want to just tape some things into your journal, like photos or different memory type items, to just make it work for you. So I know it can be easy when you're watching all these bullet journal videos to feel a little overwhelmed and to start comparing and get discouraged. Your layout, your very first page of your very first bullet journal doesn't look like someone's 20th bullet journal at the end of their notebook. So you have to remember that the bullet journal is made to be customizable, and it's made to be flexible for you and your lifestyle. So if you're getting discouraged, I would just honestly just stop looking at all the super creative layouts until you get comfortable with your notebook, because really it should be something that helps and adds value to your life. And that's what I really found with my bullet journal, is it's added so much value to my life. I feel like I'm so much more organized, and it's helped my anxiety and just everything. If you feel like you're getting discouraged, that's the very opposite of what should be happening. And if you are, then I would recommend just checking out the original bullet journal video, or you can also check out the bullet journal method. Writer Carol actually just came out with that book, and I just finished reading it. I got it for Christmas and I really loved it. It cut everything down to the absolute basics of the bullet journal system. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave a link in the description box below just so you can check that out. That's everything that I use for my bullet journal supplies. If you want to start bullet journaling, just start. I promise you, once you get into the swing of it and you start kind of finding your groove, you'll love it. I'll leave a couple resources down in the description box, and I do have an entire Plan With Me playlist with different bullet journal videos that I've done. So if you are interested in that, that's down in the description box too. If you're not already, hit that subscribe button. I upload videos every single week all about my bullet journal, and I'll see you guys next time.